Big news from our friends at Freedom Homecrafters. They're now Freedom Roofing and Exteriors. Same trusted craftsmanship, now with a sharper focus on protecting the outside of your home so you can feel safe on the inside. Freedom Roofing and Exteriors. Quality, protection, and freedom. Coach Cam is taking KLC method basketball to the next level with training for K through 12th grade and a partnership with the DC Kings and Queens circuit. Athletes now have access to top-level competitive basketball, skill development, and a deeper love for the game. KLC method basketball, where passion meets opportunity. We're building something special at Into the Mindset, but we can't do it without you. If you've gotten anything from these conversations, motivation, perspective, growth, hit that follow button and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it helps us reach more people who need it. Welcome to Limitless Living Into the Mindset, the podcast that dives into the heart of growth, grit, and what it really means to keep moving forward. Welcome back to Limitless Living Into the Mindset. Today's going to be a really good one. I've got Vincent Perez here with me and John, someone I've actually got some history with, and his story is honestly pretty wild. From endurance racing to battling cancer, not once, but twice, to now training for one of the toughest bike races in the world, all while working in cancer research and raising a beautiful family. There's a lot to unpack, so we're excited to get into it. Vincent, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me. Feels like an honor. It is an honor.
And I introduced you as Vincent, but we'll go with Vince.
That's fine.
For the rest of the episode, because that's what I called you growing up. So,
and even if you say to call him something different, he'll probably still default to
just go with Vince.
There was an era where I think I went from Vince to Vincent. It just fit my PhD better.
Yeah,
it sounded more PhD, and then
that's
all
right.
of a sudden it just switched to Vincent.
So we are not even a minute into this, and you had to drop the PhD.
I had to. Yep.
If you didn't know, Vincent has a PhD.
He has a PhD.
Yes.
No, that's perfect. But I do. But you, like I said, you have an incredible story. You've done some pretty incredible things in your adult life, but I'm going to take it back to some of the not so fun, not so incredible things that you and I don't know, they were still pretty incredible, but stupid young guy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the camping trip because that's where this really begins.
Sure.
Vince and I, we went on a camping trip when we were, how old were we? I mean, we were in our 20s, right?
No, I think it was probably 18 or 19.
Was it?
When I was 18, 18 or 19, if not early 20, because when I was 18, I ended up attending OTC. So I was still around. I was only around, I think, Lebanon for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And John, I think you and I overlapped at OTC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the debate course with me, or was that?
No, I wasn't in. No.
Okay. Yeah, that course haunts me to this day.
You would have been good at debate. You're like snarky enough that
I could handle the tone of it. No, I didn't do anything like that. My time at OTC was pretty short lived. So
yeah. So we've been 18 or 19 because I was only around Lebanon for about a year and a half after high school. So then maybe 19 and a half.
Yeah. So, and I guess I should ask from it. Can I say the whole story of how these things transpired?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the story probably kicks off why I stopped running, to be fair.
So we go on this camping trip. It's myself, you, and I believe Will was with us on that one.
Will Nesbitt.
And, young and dumb camping. So we had some questionable food, but we had more to drink, I think, that particular camping trip.
Yeah, I think the goal that night was to eat a frog.
We went on some hunting trips after we had drank too much and we're trying to find a frog.
That's always a good mix.
Yeah.
But we got to a point where we were running out of firewood. And so we decided we needed to go out. We needed to get some firewood, and correct me if I'm like wrong on some of the details here. Cause we drank a lot. And so we went out to get some firewood, and we found what we thought was a dead tree. that we were like, oh, we can push this tree over and we'll just be able to burn all night.
Yeah.
And so we start climbing up this tree, and Vince had climbed up the tree, and turned out it was more of just a young tree, not a dead tree.
The exact opposite.
And so me and Vince are hanging on this tree, him on more of the end of it and me kind of more in the middle of it. And this tree is fully bent over.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, this tree's not going to break. So let go.
How do you undo? Yeah. How do you get out of that?
So I let go before Vince let go. Vince kind of went, all over. And then as we were walking back, we realized that his leg is hurt pretty bad.
Yeah. So I remember this story a little bit different.
Okay. That's what I told you. There's a lot to drink. So go ahead.
So I do recall there were a lot of dead trees in the area. And number one, you and I were both in like an endurance. I mean, you've always been in endurance and running and stuff like that. So was Will. So was I. And so the whole point of this trip, I think, was to jog back into the woods, find a place to camp and sleep out there. And you were also into this like phase of almost like survival stuff.
Yeah, so I was doing like the
like
Bushman
Bear Grylls stuff.
Yeah, like
Bear Grylls was
stuff.
popular at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think we built the fort that we stayed in overnight. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff.
Did.
So anyways, the point was we were going to jog out in the middle of nowhere, build a fort, hunt frogs, and just, survive out. And this had to have been early spring, right? Because it was cold.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we both climbed up the tree. I probably climbed up to the top first. You jumped off. Maybe you climbed down before you jumped off, but I did not.
I just let go.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I did too. But I think I must have been higher up because I did not climb down. I jumped from the top. And then I recall the grass was like 2 or 3 feet tall. So whenever I braced for impact, I braced too early and cracked I think it was my fibula or tibula.
It was your tibia. Yes.
Right. And I remember.
I think he would remember probably more than me, but
on impact, like you felt that and we're just like, oh, this was not good.
The moment it happened, I was like, Colin and Will, this is not good. And you guys, I recall you guys both were going, oh, it's fine. You're good. We're going to jog out of here tomorrow. And that was the thing is we were like, we're going to jog out of here tomorrow. And I'm like, I remember telling you guys, this isn't good. Something's wrong here.
Yeah. Like you probably should have went to the hospital then.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Did you wait it out?
Okay. So
we slept through the night and jogged back.
Yeah.
You just
well, and here's the thing behind that I don't think we've ever really told Vince here. We knew there was a problem.
Yeah.
We got back to the camp. He lifted his pant leg up and it was swollen. It was bruising already.
Oh, yeah.
Like is pretty bad. And we knew that. But at that time, Will and I both were, again, we were endurance, we were runners and we were, I was doing half marathons and doing things at that time already. But that meant that we weren't big guys.
Yeah.
And so the thought of dragging him
like he's going to have to figure this out
through the woods for a few miles to get back just didn't seem.
Did you guys eat frogs though?
We didn't get to the frogs.
No frogs. Dang.
No. Just broken tibias.
Yeah. So we just continued to tell him that everything was fine to keep him in the right mindset. Yeah.
So that. I see, bringing it around
to where we could get him.
They helped you. That's their way of helping you.
Back to the camp and back to the cars. And so we got back to the cars and then I'm pretty sure which he was going to anyways, but Will and I both were like, you should go to the hospital.
Yeah. I think what made that night especially fun is it was freezing cold. Mm-hmm. So sleeping there with a broken it was cracked. There was like a spiral crack in it when I looked at the x-ray. Sleeping there with a cracked bone plus the cold was extra fun. But no, I knew that night I was like, okay, this is not good. And so I remember the next day I texted you guys after receiving the x-ray and being like, I told you it was broken.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, we know.
After you ran out.
I think that was
out
probably the
on it.
response was like, you guys were both like, yeah, we know.
Was that the last time you hung out with Colin?
Last time.
It was
No, I
pretty
don't
close.
recall actually if that was the last time or not.
I think it was pretty close. So I think we
I mean,
did.
if you moved close after, right?
Yeah.
I think you and I did a few bike rides after that. But yeah, that was right before you moved,
Yeah.
I think, or kind of started the second stage of life out of Lebanon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. He's like, I got to get away from these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I just recall the phase that you were in, Colin, whenever you were kind of, I think when we first met, you were carrying boulders up a hill next to the YMCA.
He's still doing that.
I like to
He's still
say,
doing that.
I like that you said
I don't think
boulders.
so, but-
They were
rocks.
They were rocks.
Pebbles.
But
Right.
yeah. So that was, again, Bear Grylls was a popular thing back then, but there was also a program called Move. It was either Move Nat or Nat Move. Can't remember, but it was natural movement, which I still occasionally will throw in some of their workouts.
Yeah.
But it's endurance training. It's VO2 max, but you're using land. So you're carrying trees, you're like swimming in lakes and deep water, and you're doing like deep water diving and things like that to help with your lung capacity. You're carrying rocks and throwing rocks and all those things. So I got into that at the time. So I don't know. I was young and extreme, I guess, at the time, and thought this is a good idea. But I was in great shape.
Yeah, that stuff will do it for sure. And you were pretty close to the hospital in case something happened.
Yeah.
Unlike Vincent was deep in the woods,
Right.
in the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. we say it's the bush, but honestly, it was like probably
Stoutland.
2 miles out of town from a park.
Yeah, it was.
That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. I had a similar thing. I don't even remember where we were, but some friends decided to go, quote unquote, camping, and we were like, you could still hear cars.
Right.
You were like very close to to town.
Yeah.
So after that happened, kind of talk to us a little bit about who you kind of were during that moment, just in life. And then after all that happened, you kind of left town, who you kind of became from there to who you are now, and just kind of the sequence of those events.
Sure. So kind of always been into like running and cycling and things like that. And I think, after high school, you and I both graduated, John, we all graduated. And then that's whenever people started like mixing and mingling that weren't the crowds that you would normally mingle with. Right. And,
Yeah.
Colin, I think you and I met because I don't even remember how we met, honestly. Maybe it was the YMCA.
I think so. Yeah.
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 But
Did you work there too?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting the story too, because like
Yeah.
I was on the periphery of all this. So
I think for about a year I worked there. But that's how I got to know Colin and his family. But
cool,
he was
cool.
carrying rocks and boulders up hills next to the Y. And, I also like to run and jog and bike and things like that. And so I think we kind of became pretty good friends pretty quick until the fateful night with the broken tibia. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was a fun memory. But not long, eventually I had to move on and go to a 4-year college where I got my bachelor's in chemistry. But while doing that, like I still, was jogging and cycling and, mixing it in with some weightlifting and things like that. Originally I was going to go and get like my arts degree, get to go to a art institute in Kansas City. But I remember I had a conversation with my uncle at some point, and he was like, you can't go become a graphic designer. Like that doesn't make any money. And so that had to have been somewhere in that 2009 to 2010 period. And so anyways, went to Lindenwood University. Do you guys remember Dale McGinnis at all?
I don't.
That sounds really familiar, but no.
Okay. Well, he was at
Sorry,
Lindenwood
Dale.
and
Sorry, Dale. Yeah.
yeah, he kind of talked me into going to Lindenwood for my 4-year degree. And so I did and got a BS in chemistry. The field of chemistry is pretty saturated today in 2026, and it's probably been saturated for quite a while. So I worked for about 2 years as a technician for a chemical manufacturing company. And after 2 years, I think I came back to Missouri. On the topic of, do I come back to Missouri often? I do. Generally, if things are normal, I come back once a year. And that's a guarantee because we have an annual camping trip that we do. The whole family does it. My dad started about 25 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say I have not been invited to that camping trip.
Yeah. I can imagine why.
Yeah, no joke. Well, you're invited next time, Colin. You too, John.
Thanks, man.
But seriously though, because it has become a thing where we invite, friends now in addition to that, but it's been going on for like 20, 25 years. And so I go back every year. So long as things are okay. Like my dad, he'll fly down from Fairbanks and he'll go to this camping trip this year. And so will I, so long as kids aren't being born and jobs aren't getting in the way and,
right.
Stuff like that. But anyway, so I did that camping trip, I think in 2014, I think it was. And I was just kind of, in the middle of nowhere, Missouri, in the back of my Ford Ranger, sleeping, and just kind of had this realization, like I don't, this job isn't doing it for me. I need to go back and do something different. And I remember my aunt at the time, also the same, my aunt is married to my uncle who was like, graphic design is not going to make tons of money, which by the way, let the record show I've made tons of money on graphic design, even though it's not my current job.
Yes. I was going to say, when you said that, I was like, graphic designers, especially at that time, did make a lot.
Now, yeah. I've got a whole bike in my garage right now that I paid for $2,000 for graphic design work that I did last year. So
yeah, yeah. See, so you can do both and you can have the side hustle too.
Yeah.
Could do both. Right. Yeah. And I still do it on occasion. So, but anyways, so I was laying in the back of my Ranger on this camping trip and just thinking like, this isn't the life I want, and I think I may have run into my aunt at some point that same weekend. And she was just suggesting, why don't you go back and, for your degree, you should probably get a terminal degree, like a PhD. And so I did. And
you just did it. You're like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it worked out really well. So I've had a successful scientific career actually as a scientist in biochemistry and cancer research now for going on 7 years. I've published quite a bit ish. So you can search my name up on PubMed and things like that. And you'll find some papers that I've written and whatnot. And it's been great. And then in 2022, my daughter was born after I got my PhD in 2019. And from there, life has been, really great. My wife, she got her job she's a nurse practitioner. She also works in oncology. So she's also doing cancer stuff. Wow. Her and I both have been, doing cancer work for I'd say both of us are 6 to 7 years now.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That's about where we're at now. I don't want to move the topic to cancer just yet, but I have had cancer twice, and that's a huge bummer for obvious reasons.
Right. And are you in cancer research now because of that, or were you kind of going into that field and then it kind of collided with this
not
life
at all.
event?
I actually wanted to avoid cancer research as much as possible.
Oh yeah. But it changes whenever you are living that story out too.
It does. Yeah.
Was your wife doing any cancer research related or cancer related work, or was it the same thing where she kind of drifted into that after these life events?
She sought it out, I think. So she initially was a nurse from, I forget the years. She's going to tell me I should know them.
Years.
Yeah, for some years. Yeah. But then she kind of did the same thing where she wanted to go back and pursue her nurse practitioner degree. And we ended up pursuing our second degrees almost together before we met.
And luckily we're not having a child during your PhD years and those things that would have been mega tough to be managing all of that. What was the, going way back to what was the interest or how did you get into chemistry? And then when you decided to pursue, further education, what made you make the decision on biology? How did those interests come up and decisions get made?
I think I was initially intending to become a medical doctor. If you looked at my GPA in high school, you would say he's not going to become a medical doctor. And I didn't.
And I'm not.
Right. I think I could have pursued it, though. I had a lot of peers in my 4-year program that ended up becoming MDs, and not to throw too much shade on it, but I'm happy I didn't. I really feel like it's a bullet dodged. You work a lot of time, like a lot of time.
Yeah. But what was attractive, like, for like getting into the chemistry side? Were you seeing it just as a path toward the MD, and that's a kind of a prerequisite style thing, or what got you interested in that?
I think initially I was intending to become an MD, and then about a year, probably 2 years into my 4-year program, I just kind of had another one of those reflective moments where, you have to look at yourself and realign. And so I asked myself, like, why do I want to be an MD? Do I really care about
people
practicing medicine? Right.
Yeah. People. Yeah.
And I just, realized, like, no, I feel like I was pursuing an MD for prestige and things that are just not really things that I wanted or that I needed. You know,
yeah.
A lot of people pursue MDs because it's prestigious. It's the top paying job, same thing with like pursuing a law degree, things like that. But, I realized, like, prestige isn't why I should be pursuing my goals. And so I reflected and just thought to myself, well, maybe I want to do research. Maybe I want to do chemistry, something like that. That sounded like that captured my imagination.
Cool.
And I feel like what drives me as a person, and always has, and especially now, is like, I do things if it captures my imagination and engages my brain. You know what I mean? And we all do, but
yeah. Was that the same mentality going into your PhD? What kind of drew you into that field from what you were doing before?
It is, absolutely. So I sought a PhD in biochemistry, and just the word biochemistry alone, I thought, wow,
sparks.
That sounds amazing. Let's do it. So applied for a PhD program in biochemistry, got accepted, and was really excited to get accepted. And then that led me down to the path of bioinformatics. I thought, oh, you can add another word to bio. That's even more.
Yeah, just keep trying new words.
It just keeps going down the rabbit hole, and that continued to capture my imagination. So that's what I do today. Is what you would call bioinformatics or computational biology. There's like 100 different ways to describe it.
Can you give a layman's view on that? Like,
dumb it down a little bit.
What is your day-to-day like? What are you researching? How does that? What does that look like?
That'd be the
data
word.
Analyst?
Yep. PhD data analyst would be the word to describe it, layman's term. But like, there is just, I don't want to bore your audience and cause you guys to lose followers.
No. Well, this whole thing is just about curiosity.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
No, you're good. Say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
If it's too boring, we'll just cut it out.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Human genome project that happened like 25 years ago or something like that. That was a big deal. So you could all of a sudden sequence the entire DNA of a person and understand like how their DNA leads to their phenotype. And that's alone one individual's DNA is gigabytes of data. Somebody's probably going to correct me or your podcast if I'm wrong when I say that, but back in the day it was probably gigabytes of data. But now we can do that on like a much larger, faster, grander scale. So there's DNA sequencing and there's RNA sequencing. RNA sequencing is basically like, what is your DNA doing now, today, at this given moment? But it's tons of data still, even for, one sample from one patient is still probably gigabytes of data. But I work for a precision oncology company that basically does RNA sequencing for millions of patients. And so that data all lives in the cloud, and somebody has to process it and analyze it and understand what's going on for these patients. And so that's what I do. So 25 years ago, it was a lot of data. Today, it's even more data, but we have better, faster, stronger tools to do it. And so I'm a glorified data analyst for precision oncology for cancer research, basically.
Wow. When you're going through that, I'm sorry, I'm dominating.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I just have just one more on that
It's
for
fine.
my own.
It's not my podcast.
For my own curiosity.
It's yours, I guess.
Are you looking for, thanks, Colin. You have a great one. We're good. No, I'm joking. But are you looking for, like, do you know going in that you're looking for specific things? Are you looking for patterns? Are you looking for anomalies? Like, or is it just like kind of everything all at once? But like,
well, that's where the PhD comes in. Because, if you have a PhD, you're specialized in a field and you should understand like the history of your field that you work in 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, the big papers that were published 40 years ago, what that means for the field. So yeah, I mean, it's just not like you don't go into it just hoping you find something. We'll see, you read the literature. These days you can ask Gemini to read literature for you, or ChatGPT or whatever. And obviously do your due diligence to make sure it's accurate. But yeah, I mean, that gene X is good, gene B is not good. So let's keep our analysis focused on gene whatever,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
In the context of patient whatever.
Right. It's different. Yeah. It's a different set of things that you're working in from patient to patient with the different data that you're getting. Right.
Yes.
So okay.
So yeah, I mean, with all the data that we have coming in from, you said study was done 25 years ago. We have even more data coming in now. Where do you see the future of this research going? I mean, is it a pretty good, I'm trying to think of how to like word the question. Does it seem like we are going in the right direction as far as cancer treatments are going, cancer research is going, and things like that? Or does it seem like we're just still kind of at like a standstill with it?
Yeah. I don't think we're at a standstill at all, which is good for you, me, and John, because it's the years and the research progresses. And if you get cancer 10 years from now, ideally you're going to be set up with better treatment than you will be 10 years ago. The general public probably doesn't like stay up to date on the updates of cancer research. It's a huge field, but if you're in the field, you know that it gets updated quite a bit.
So what are some things, when were you first diagnosed with your first round of cancer? And what type of cancer were you diagnosed with?
2013 testicular cancer.
Okay. So what's different from the treatment that you received then to the treatment you would receive now? Is there a large difference in that through the research?
So that's may not be the best person to answer that question because I actually have not done any research in testicular cancer, oddly enough. The reason being is because there's not a lot of interest in it. There is some interest in it, but all the work that you do must be funded by something, and whoever's going to fund it must have like a benefit from it eventually over time. But testicular cancer is generally solved with just surgery. Remove the tumor, you're good to go. So because there's already kind of a solution for that one, there's not a lot of research going on. I mean, there definitely is research going on. I was almost part of a project in my after my PhD with it, but I didn't get selected for it. But other cancers where it's very aggressive, head and neck, colorectal, breast, lung, etc., lymphomas, they're going to have a lot more interest in terms of research because we don't have a solution for those things. We have some solutions, but there's a good amount of the population that those solutions do not work for. And so that's where a lot of the research activities focused on. I don't know if that answers your question, if I got off a tangent.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
And then you mentioned your 2-time cancer. So was there any difference in treatment and things as you went into your second type of cancer, second round of cancer?
Yeah. That was a reoccurrence, which is not fun. So I'm sure both of you probably know somebody that has had cancer at some point in time, but a reoccurrence is whenever the first thing comes back again, which is not fun, because you ideally, if you got rid of it the first time, then it's not going to come back for the rest of your life. But
so when it does, there's a level of, is this going to progress faster, more aggressive? Is that kind of the mentality that's happening if you have a reoccurrence?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to get away from it, or, potentially that's the fear that comes into play there.
Yeah.
Well,
not to
I
get,
go ahead.
I would say not to get too heavy, but yes, that is something that I will probably think about for most of my life.
Yeah. And I think we hear it more often, and this is because testicular cancer isn't as, I don't want to say popular. That doesn't seem like
no, that's fair. Totally fair.
Yeah. As it's not talked about as much as like you would hear breast cancer talked about. But I think that women, or, some men, they're dealing with breast cancer. They have that decision of, do I just remove the breast completely, or do I keep them and have this lingering thought unknown of it coming back? And to me, it seems like kind of a similar, we get into it. So do I just remove the testicle and to where I don't have that return? And I don't know medically what all you can do as far as these terms go, similar to someone wanting to remove their breast and things like that. So was that like part of that thought process of, what do I do here to make sure that this doesn't come back?
Yeah.
Because you also talked about when you and I were first talking, how your cycling and your endurance races, which we'll get into, helps with your cancer treatment. So we'll get into that as well.
Yeah. General health is just kind of the whole point. You want to maintain your health as best so that, something doesn't arise that you're not looking for to arise. But yeah, I mean, when I got my second reoccurrence, it was 2018, and I was still in my PhD program, and I sat with my advisor and I told him about it. And he was in his 60s. I think he was 61, 62. Professor Paul Black, great mentor, really appreciated working with him. But he said to me, he's like, I've known a lot of people with cancer, relatives, things like that. Hit it with a heavy hammer and don't think twice. And that's the answer for sure. Hit it with a heavy hammer and do not think twice.
Be as aggressive as it is.
Yeah. If it means removing your breast, then remove your breast, because, we're talking about, these are individual tiny cells that you've got a lump. It's probably, I don't know, let's say 1 million cells in there. Well, any one of those 1 million cells can just worm off into your bloodstream and find a place somewhere else to live. I hate to be creepy about it, but
that's how it works.
Seen it happen in the lab. Like, that's part of the things that we study is how it metastasizes, and it does look like a little tiny worm. It goes through what's known as epithelial mesenchymal transition. And so one of those tiny little cells in that 1 million ball of tumor cells can just worm off into your bloodstream and find a place to hang out for a good while until it splits into more cells. And that's called
start the process over again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good way of.
So hit it with a hammer.
I understood it.
Good.
How you went through it. So yeah. Don't apologize for being creepy.
Yeah. Hit it with a hammer.
Yeah. That's really good.
When you were first diagnosed, like when you first got that news, what options were you given on the onset of how to approach it? Was it sort of like recommended to hit it with the heavy hammer back then, or was it sort of like, was it just like, I imagine it's handled much differently now than it would be even just that short time ago, just because of research and because of approach. So what was the approach to you? Cause you're a young guy, even younger back in, 2013, you're getting this news, and what kind of maybe put us in your mindset then, like where were you at mentally, and what options were you given, and how did you know what approach to take? Or
it's really up to your provider, and every hospital's different. So they'll lead the way in terms of like how you get treatment, but some hospitals will neglect to give you, I don't want to say anything too heavy, but like some hospitals and some providers will give you a different treatment than what some other hospitals and other providers might give you. So I was at Nebraska, cause that's where I got my PhD, and the University of Nebraska Medical Center was really good. They have a great oncology program. And so I'm happy I was there, because if I was in another state like Alaska,
it might not be the same opportunities.
Honestly, it may not be the same. Yeah. So, and as a kid, I was 2013. I was, I don't know, somewhere around the age of 21, 22. I didn't know what to do. I just jumped out of a tree with Colin and broke my tibia.
And turn around and you're there at the doctor's office getting this news.
Yeah. So I didn't know.
Like where were you at internally? Like what was going through your head? Where were you at emotionally?
I was young. I honestly, when I found it, I was 2013 the first time. I've told my wife this multiple times. Like I didn't take it that seriously. Honestly, I looked up testicular cancer. I saw the survival rates were like 95%. I thought, oh, I'm good. 95. I'm young, 21,
I'll bounce back. I'm healthy.
Yeah,
this is
for
good.
sure. But that's not the case. And if you have kids and, they are young and they think, oh, it does happen to them, God forbid one of them does get cancer, like they need to take it very, very seriously. And same thing as a parent, take it very, very seriously. I'm also part of a support group down in North Carolina because I used to be in North Carolina, but I see a lot of testicular cancer cases that were not my case and were much more aggressive. And a lot of the kids do die, not all of them, but a lot of them do. And it's testicular cancer. And so in 2013, I didn't take it as serious as I should have. And knowing what I know now, it's pretty serious. So,
and I'm sure when you're getting news about a recurrence, that is probably a tone shift in your mentality.
And I was older. So I took it more seriously. And given that it was a second time, I thought, oh, second time, like this is serious now, And I was older. So that, you're right, John, it was a 190% mentality shift at that stage. That's when I was like, okay, this is a real thing,
Yeah. So the first time were the options basically like cut it out, like it's a tumor, remove it kind of thing. That was pretty much it. You weren't given, there weren't other less invasive options.
So anytime you get cancer, and again, someone could correct me if I'm wrong, because I work in the research side of things, but there's a 5-year follow-up that you'll probably do with your doctor. And so everything is different. Every cancer type is different, but there's a program you follow, and for 5 years you'll go and see your doctor, and they'll draw all your labs and make sure everything's good. But for that first time, it was just surgery. And then the second time it was chemo, because we all realized that, okay, this is the second time. We should probably hit it with multiple hammers.
Oh yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Coming at it from different angles and different approaches. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second time it was tone change and treatment change and a lot of things. So, but since then, that was 2018. It's been 8 years now. So, past my 5-year follow-up. And at that stage, you just, you expect to live a long life. So,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's a pause for congratulations. So to be just past that mark, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And it brings me back to something we were talking about, before we had started recording, was we were just talking about life and the different stages of life. I was talking about whenever I was a kid, before I had kids of my own, I didn't think I would live to the age I am now, 36, because I was, riding dirt bikes and jumping off buildings and just doing crazy things.
Yeah.
And then once I had kids, it became this switch of, I want to be around for this. I want to be around to see my kids grow up and to find their spouses and to see them in their professions and to be a part of the grandkids and things like that. And I had this switch. I mean, I still have my moments of, we have a little dirt bike at our house, and every once in a while I'll jump on it and go pop a few wheelies, and my wife just shakes her head at me.
But you gotta live still.
Yeah, I still got to live a little bit. And that comes into the running and some of the races, stuff like that. That's where I get a lot of my dopamine and endorphins and stuff from, and just adrenaline. It's a little bit safer, a little bit more healthier. But when we have this shift of wanting to live that longer life, that's when health really started to kick in for me. It's when I really started to want to eat right. I wanted to make sure I was exercising every day and just have an overall, like you were saying, good general health, so that I could be around for as long as I can and just enjoy my kids and my family. So you go through cancer twice, and then you have your little girl. How's that mind shift? You kind of mentioned this, but I want you to talk about it more. That mind shift going from the first time you had cancer, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Second time, it's a little bit bigger of a deal. Oh, now I have a daughter. What are your goals now that you have the daughter, and what's the future look like for you and your mindset?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't like to go to their doctor's office and get their labs drawn. I don't know about you two.
I just got it done a couple of weeks ago, and I was not a fan, and I haven't done it because I hadn't been to a primary care in forever. Like, I couldn't remember the last time I'd been, but I'm like, oh, I'm 38. I should probably, start doing some of these normal checkup things.
Colonoscopy, labs drawn, things like that.
Yeah. I have an appointment next Tuesday to go get my labs done. But I'll put myself out there. Here's the really scary thing is I'm filling out all the paperwork and stuff to schedule my labs and everything. And I texted my wife. I said, when was the last time I had labs done? So one, I didn't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had them done. I just didn't remember the date. And she was like, is when you had your kidney stone. They did, a full lab workup, try to figure out, make sure that was exactly it, along with the MRI and all that stuff. So she sent me like all the links and things. I didn't even know the password to my own medical records. So she sent me all this stuff, and it was 3 years ago that I had my full lab workup, which is scary, but I think it's pretty normal in the male brain because we just hate the doctor. But the scary part is that I have testicular cancer in my family. Yeah. Like, my grandfather had testicular cancer. So when I wrote that down, because it asked if you have any past history and I was like, I'm an idiot. I mean, I do this. I talk to people all the time. I talk to health experts all the time. I know that you need to have your blood work done regularly, check your levels, do all that stuff. And here I am waiting 3 years with somebody who has testicular cancer in their family. So I'm like, what am I doing? I should be doing this all the time. And so I was like, hey, let's schedule this. I want it scheduled, as soon as you can, is Tuesday. And then I was like, and then also whatever checks I need to go through, just let me know. I'm 36, whatever checks you think I need to go through. And she was like, let's start off with blood work. And then we'll go from there. But I was just like, just give me everything. I want to know. I want to know it all.
At the end of the day, like, on the kind of topic of the initial question, like, I have it twice, I have a daughter, etc. Even going back to the whole metastasis thing, if you catch it early and you can hit it with a hammer, you should be in good shape.
Yeah.
You really should. And, well, I don't want to say that and misguide anybody, but reality is if if you are unfortunate enough that you find it when it has metastasized, that's whenever things go bad.
Yeah.
But if you get your labs drawn, that's why I kind of brought up the labs drawing, things like that. Like I will be doing that probably religiously for most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get your labs drawn, you do your colonoscopies, things like that, and catch it early. You should be in good shape.
Yeah. You have a lot more runway and a lot less spread and letting things metastasize and become a worse problem. And I think we talk about awareness a lot in general, like usually from like a mental health kind of perspective, but you having an awareness of what's happening inside of your body in general is an important thing. And one that I think most people just don't really, until they're around our age, maybe, or until they've hit some sort of health issue or something like that came out of nowhere. You just don't really think that much about it. You don't.
I know so many people my age that don't get their labs drawn or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't until very recently. I hadn't even thought about it. And then I'm like, just my sister passed away at the end of 2024 and from after a heart surgery, and there were some complications and things. And it just like, one of the things it did for me was just like, things can happen, just like stuff can happen out of nowhere. And if you're not trying to be on, stay on top of these things and before they get out of control, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and you're going to be in a position where you're trying to just play catch up with your own, like the status of your own body in these moments. And then you're also fighting an illness, or you're, like dealing with a severe medical condition. And it's just, I've literally just never thought about mortality in that way until that happened.
We're chasing percentages here. Yeah. What's going to give us the best percent
the shot
of life?
Yeah.
And that's just what I see, kind of the direction you say, like, you're going to be good, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I think what you mean is it gives you the higher percent.
Yeah, to take care of it,
taking
before
care
it becomes
of it,
a major
rather
issue.
than letting it continue to degrade into that lower percentage mark.
There's
go ahead.
Surprisingly, like, you catch it early is the thing. That's it gives you the more likely chance of if it does happen, that's fine, but you catch it early before things get worse. So
Mm-hmm.
And there are, again, with the research that's being done with cancer, we're improving every year. From what it sounds like, we're getting better. 10 years down the road, we could have treatments that are 10 times better than what we have now. But for right now, and kind of the topic that we're on, with the way medical is starting to get set up, you go to the hospital, you get blood work done. There's clinics now where you go get your blood work done, where it's cash. Like, you just pay cash, you get your blood work done. And like for me, for what I do is it's through a clinic. It's an actual MD. It's a private practice, but she's membership based. So I pay a monthly membership for this. And I think my blood workup and everything's like $5.
Oh, wow.
After that. So it also isn't something that's going to break the bank every single year.
No.
If you do it correctly. And that's what I'm trying to say is this isn't I'm not going to go do that because I don't have $1,000 to go do it. Typically it doesn't cost that much. I think at most, sometimes you'd be looking at like 100 or 150 for like some pretty major lab workups, if that's what you need. But if you don't have insurance or anything like that, there are ways that you can go and get blood work done still and not have to pay a whole bunch of money out of pocket for that. I know health insurance and stuff and healthcare is a crazy thing right now, but just like some doctors are understanding that, and they're stepping away from some of the hospitals and starting their own practices. And it creates the ability to be able to go in there and pay kind of a one-time fee that's a little bit less.
Yeah.
So you could do that as well. So there's no excuse not to be able to go get blood work done, besides people just not wanting to take the time to do it or not doing it or being scared of needles. Or
I was going to say, like, there's also the fear element of just like so there's a part of you that whenever you go to one of those appointments, you're like, what if they find something? What if, and you, obviously absolutely. You want that. You want to know, like it would be better for your health if you knew, but it's a very scary prospect to go sit down.
It goes back to the, if you don't know it's broke, then you just keep going.
Keep going through. Yeah, you're fine. It's all good.
That's a slippery slope though, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's not the right attitude. But it's one that typically men specifically will have.
And I would say that even, especially men, or I mean, just people who are in decent shape, who are healthy for all intents and purposes, involved in, you know, like running marathons or biking or all of these things that you guys are into. And I am a runner too. And same thing. It's like you're, especially when you're in a season of relative good health, you're really not, it's not really on your mind. You're like, I'm doing the things I should do. I'm eating right.
I'm eating healthy. I jogged the other day, so I don't need to go to the hospital.
So people don't kind of just, they check that box along with their kind of like daily routine stuff.
But it's just not, you know,
it's not enough.
It's not the case.
Yeah. And you can feel healthy and feel good. And then all of a sudden something's going on in here that you just don't know is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this podcast, having conversations with people like you, Vince, and other doctors and things as well, has really helped me kind of, it's brought some wisdom to me and some guidance to me, because that's what I've been healthy my whole life. I've, for the most part, watched my nutrition. I've been a runner. I've done all this stuff. And I just always had that mindset of everything's fine. But now the whole reason we're doing the blood workup and everything is I had to message my doctor. I said, hey, I don't feel me. I'm more fatigued. I have a little bit more brain fog and things like that. And a year ago, before interviews and podcasts and things like that, I wouldn't have had that like reflection. I know my body pretty well, but I'm like, if I could still get up and run each day, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But just the little things of, I have some brain fog. I'm not able to focus as easy. I'm not sleeping as well, or things like that. Then I know, maybe something's off. And that triggered me I'm going to go get some blood work done just to see. And it could be something as simple as, maybe I have low testosterone right now, or maybe I need to, up my good fats and do this and, weigh those things out. But, it could be something bigger. I don't know. But just having that insight of, I'm going to go get some blood work done and just see where things are at. And also in the fitness and in the health and wellness industry, GLP-1s, HRT, TRT, they're becoming, obviously we know all these things. They've become very popular. However, they're very like unregulated. And so what can happen is you have these guys that are, I want to gain muscle. I want to lose fat and get toned and everything. And so I probably need some testosterone. And they go and they start with TRT, and then it ends up your testosterone was already high. And now you're putting your body in a situation where it's going to be susceptible to other issues because you're pumping in more testosterone than your body actually needs.
Yeah.
So going and getting those blood workups before you do any type of peptide therapy or anything like that is also a big deal. So what do I actually need and what do I not need?
It's getting a baseline for everything. All of that stuff is giving you a baseline to make decisions off of. And if you don't have that, it's a shot in the dark. It's like people just taking a million supplements, and it's like you might not need, your body maybe can't even process it, and you may not even need the things that you're thinking, because I think we're all kind of programmed culturally to think symptom based, I'm experiencing this, so let me do something that seems like it might treat that, without getting like the baseline stuff to information to like build that, whatever you're going to do to build on top of something that's founded in reality, that's founded in, fact. I think we just have that kind of, I'm not feeling good in this way, so let me find something that will take care of that. And it may not be the reason thing, or the right thing to do it.
I'm just run another mile. And
just add a mile, jog back. Your leg's broken. It's fine.
Yeah,
no big deal.
Any of your guys' kids in daycare?
No,
not anymore.
No. There will be like these periods where I have that brain fog. I have that, something's like I'm 90% like myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But due to daycare, she's brought home something, from daycare. And I know when it's gone because I'll wake up and I go, oh, this is me. This is how I'm supposed to feel. I'm over whatever illness was brought to the house a couple months back,
Yes.
Yeah.
And, for sure.
So young kids, bringing in illness.
Well, we have that without daycare for sure. Cause it's like being in like children's church and stuff like that. Anywhere where there's going to be or at family gatherings and they're around other, cousins and this and that, everybody's passing around something throughout,
My wife teaches preschool kids.
Yeah.
So for a public school district.
She's the one bringing it home.
Yeah. So I'm like, when you get into the house, like go through the bleach tunnel.
Yeah, they have one of those like airlock things like on the space station.
Yeah.
Just,
like don't touch me until you've changed all the things. Because she'll her thing is like she never, which she'll get sick now that I say it, but like she never usually gets sick. She brings it home and gets everybody else sick.
Yeah,
because she's around it all the time. So it's like she has the petri dish is just like she's drank that stuff.
Yeah,
she's good, but then she comes home and just spreads it to everybody else.
And we homeschool, so we're all home all the time, and I work mostly from home. And so when something does come in, it's usually once a year we get some little bug, but it bounces like everybody gets it, and so it's like 3 or 4 weeks everybody passing it around and going through the whole.
That's what thing. It's so funny. I'll talk to John at the beginning of the month and he'll be like, oh yeah, we're all we got the flu or we're all kind of going through some type of sickness. I was like, oh, okay. And I'll call him the last day of the month. He'll be like, yeah, we just got done with that sickness.
Yeah.
because
like
he's got so many kids.
The last of us has like gotten through it and we're like,
it's like a good month span.
And I'm usually on the tail end of that. So it's like, I'm, helping my wife with the kids going through stuff, and then she gets the thing. And so I'm trying to help her and help the kids. And then finally it hits me and I'm down for the last week or whatever. So it's just like a boom, boom, boom all the way through.
Yeah, that was last fall for us. I think Evelyn had something for about 1 week and then she gave it to me. I had that for 2 weeks. Evelyn got over it. And then I gave that to mom and then she had that for 2 weeks. And then I think I even got it again after that from mom. I'm like, is this thing
that's the thing end? Is when it's been so long, it will sometimes come back around.
It'll come right back around to get you.
Yeah. We've had bouts like that where it just seems like we can't shake it. Somebody, is always getting a thing, but luckily that's not too often, but it does happen and it's not fun.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. Nope. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's, on the topic of staying healthy, it's, that's the base layer I feel like is making sure you're healthy. That way none of these things happen. That's your base layer.
Yeah. And that's just what I was getting ready to say. As long as I stay healthy, I mean, I'll get a little sniffle here and there and stuff like that, but it's typically pretty rare that I get something that just really knocks me out.
Yeah.
Just because, and even then, if I have if I wake up and kind of have a stuffy nose or I feel like something's coming on, I kid you not, I typically I make sure I have a run scheduled that day because it gets my system pumping, whatever's going on, it just helps get it out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But whether I sweat it out or pee it out or poop it out or whatever it is, I just want to make sure I work it out.
I don't believe that exercise actually gets me over any illnesses. But I do it because what else am I going to do? I'm sick. I'm going to be doing something anyways. I might as well go and exercise. You know what I mean?
Well, at the very least, there's just a mental a benefit of being able to feel like you're at your best, to get some sunlight on you, to just kind of be in a state where healing can take place in a little bit of a easier, faster kind of fashion.
It's probably a like placebo effect for me. In a way, but
it almost doesn't matter. I mean, if it's still affecting you in a positive way, like that's good.
Our brain can control a lot of things.
Yeah.
So if we could figure out ways to kind of manipulate or trick it, then
I've recently been getting into some stupid long bike races, and I've had some experiences where it actually makes me sick. And so I've done like marathon running. I've done, 26 miles on my legs, etc. And generally I exercise all the time, but the recent races I've been doing have been like, they're just so hard on my body that I think at least the last time it made me sick. And so maybe there's probably a limit, if I had to guess, in terms of like the placebo effect that you might get from exercise in terms of how it would make you feel better to actually, okay, this is now setting you back,
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, when I schedule a run, it's usually like maybe a 2 to 3 mile, not a 100-mile bike race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe that's a fun thing to talk about for a minute is like, so you're doing, regular kind of daily, weekly, whatever, things to kind of keep yourself in a healthy place, kind of baseline. But what's so I guess what I'm asking is like, what's like a daily, weekly routine type thing? What are you doing that kind of is your go-to kind of baseline health stuff? And then how does that shift when you're training for something like that, like a 100-mile bike race, I guess I should say.
Generally this past 2 years have been unique. Just because that's when I started getting into this really extremely long stuff. So for the past 2 years, I would say I'll at least ride my bike, 150 miles at minimum in a week. And then I'll have weeks off here and there, like 4th of July weekend is probably a slow week or something like that. But then when things start to ramp up, like when I did these last 2 races, then I'll start to do 200, 250, 300 miles a week. And that's the point where sometimes I'll get sick on occasion. Like if my daughter brings something home, then it seems to hit me really hard, So
what do you,
I assume you're depleting, something, like when your body goes through a certain level of stress, your white blood cells are trying to work hard to take care of whatever that is, whether it's inflammation or whatever it is. And then you're trying to produce more white blood cells, and they're young and immature, and they just don't act as well. And you can see this again when you have blood work done, if your body has been through some type of high stress or things like that.
Yeah.
So when I had my kidney stone with my blood work done, I'm studying my blood work, and it showed that my, I can't remember exactly like the term for it, but it was like my young white blood cell was high, and then my regular white blood cell was low because they had all went to battle basically. And then the younger stuff was coming out. And when that happens, the body's not able to fight off other things as well, because you have these immature white blood cells in there. So if you're going out there for 300 4-mile bike rides and you're putting your body through a level of stress, which is what endurance athletes do, then it does leave your body somewhat susceptible to, colds and sickness and things. I think you had done a video I watched right before your last race where you were actually getting ready to travel to go set up for it. And you were like, so I'm packing and I got a cold. And, he was all nasally and stuff like that.
Antibiotics saves the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask about a thing that I feel like happens a lot, and it definitely happened to me when I was getting back into running and trying to figure out like what my body could do. I didn't so much realize the need for cross training and giving my body breaks in certain ways and building support for the stress I'm putting on. So like maybe talk about that. Like, did you hit that whenever you decided to start doing these longer races where you go, oh, I need to change some other things, whether it's cross training, nutrition, whatever?
I am not the smartest person to talk about training programming.
You just go out and ride.
Yeah. So my form of cross training is pedal indoors, get off the indoor bike, pedal outdoors. That's like,
what about nutrition and stuff? Like, what are you doing? Is there anything that shifts whenever you're in train mode versus kind of like regular life mode?
In train mode, then I don't stop eating. I just eat.
Just calories.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah. It's
more.
It's pretty wild. Like last year when I first did my first 100 mile, and it's for context, like these are winter races in negative -5 degree, -20 degree temperatures in snow in Alaska. And so it's not like riding your road bike for 100 miles. Like that's no problem. You can do that easy peasy.
Yeah.
Super easy.
It's actually pretty difficult too, but
I just see like all of our viewers be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to go buy a Huffy at Walmart and try to get out there.
So if you're familiar with the world of like endurance stuff, then that's kind of easy peasy. You'll probably do 100 mile on the road once a year or something like that. But the winter stuff, it's a whole new animal. Like, how do you stay warm when it's 10 hours and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you've been out in the middle of nowhere for 10 hours now and it's -5, 10, 15 degrees? How are you going to keep feeding yourself and things like that? So there's a whole new aspect of the training, and that's like feeding and keeping yourself warm. And on the topic of feeding, John, when I'm in the middle of like, when I'm like 3 weeks before the Susitna or something like that, I'm just like eating nonstop. There's nothing that can really keep the weight on. Honestly, it's really wild. But I don't feel weak. Like there's no aspect of like, okay, like I can barely get up the stairs tomorrow. Like I always feel like as long as I'm feeding, then I feel strong. I feel really strong, probably strongest than I usually do in like when I'm off training, you know, which is great. But I'm not the best in terms of like organizing a training program, and I need to get better if I want to get faster. Because my training program is just eat, ride. That's it. Just two things.
Yeah. Do you want to be competitive in it, or are you like in the? I'm more when I run and more like if I cross the finish line, then I've won.
Yeah,
you know, like
for sure.
And I'm like, if I'm going to pay for it, I better win.
And I don't have a competitive mindset with that stuff. It's more like I want to compete with myself in a way. I want to see what I can do.
The last 2 to 3 years, I've told myself like, there's no reason why I can't compete. So I'm going to compete. And so I've been trying to compete.
Oh, I love that.
Trying to improve and get faster times and stuff like that.
Like my first 100 mile, I ended up 19th in the whole race. It took me 12 hours to do. And then this year I ended up 7th. So I improved from 19th to 7th.
That's awesome.
I was actually 2nd up until mile 75 in the last race. And then this whole aspect of cold just like threw me through a loop this year. Because it was -20, -25 for 12, 13, 14 hours. And you're breathing in this cold air. And I got into checkpoint 4 at mile 75. And I got into the cabin. I started breathing in this warm air and my lungs just felt like they went from this to like this. And if there's a medical doctor that can diagnose that, great. But generally I think that's called, I think there's a word for it. Kettle lung. So a lot of the guys and girls that do the 350 to 1,000 mile ride to McGrath or to Nome get kettle lung. And that's just whenever you've been breathing in all this cold air and all of a sudden you breathe in hot air and then your lungs release this mucus and it feels like it's very difficult to breathe. So,
wow.
So yeah, I was trying to compete, have been trying to compete, and hopefully next year I do better. That's my goal. But we'll see what happens next year. So
when you're putting calories in, what are you typically focused on? Are you trying to get more protein? Are you going for carbohydrate? Or are you just like whatever I can grab is going to be digested?
Ramen noodles hit the spot really good. But honestly, most people I talk to that have done some of these, that have won these longer races, they say just eat whatever.
Doesn't even matter at that point because you're burning through it so fast, probably.
Yeah. I do know the guy that won this last race that I did. He was trying to optimize his nutrition, and he said he got some cramping, then started taking some form of like sodium tablets or something like that, and that helped him get through it. But he dominated the race. So whatever he's doing is probably the right thing to do. maybe ask him about
you need
nutrition.
to give us his contact. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What does recovery look like for a race like that?
I mean, it gets better every year.
Yeah. Is it, but what is it? What are you feeling like the day after a race?
Day after this last one, I probably needed a day of rest. I work from home, but, I would say that even this last one, I was pretty dead. Even my brain. I think that's the weird thing about like these longer races is like, it not only affects my body recovery, but my head is like, it's just not.
Yeah. You're in a weird place.
Yeah. It's not up to par as if I were to be just doing my usual throughout the week. Even my head, I'm just not thinking as clear as I want to be.
Is that just like the dump of all of like everything going at full capacity for so long? And then it's just like, there's like I just wonder, just kind of like conjecture, like, is it just like a steep drop off of all of that activity? And then we just have to kind of like, there's like a whiplash kind of feel of like, everything's got to catch back up.
Yes. Yeah. I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I've depleted all of my systems. So whatever fuel my body uses, whether it's nutrition or, dopamine or like whatever it is to help me battle through that whole thing. Because like Vince is saying, it's not just a physical aspect to it. There's the mental side of it. So you're using your brain just as much as you're using your body through these races. Cause when you get to a certain point, it's your brain is the only thing making sure your foot is going in front of the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you felt this. You've done a half. I mean, you've gotten to the point where
I'm asking. I'm wondering what the similarities would be because I only have
for me, like after races and stuff like that, especially like the longer ones, 5K and stuff, like you're fine. Like don't, and even like a lot of, for me, like a half marathon at this point, it's like, okay, where do you guys want to go eat? Afterwards. But longer than that, you get to a point where it's like, yeah, I just want to lay here for a day.
I had that with the half for sure. It was like you get done and you're just like everything sort of starts to close up and kind of like you're all this big broad world of the training and the going, like your focus being in that one thing for so long. And then the process of actually accomplishing it, then the world kind of shrinks back and you go, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And then I needed a day. I had the next day I was dead and I was feeling that from that.
And I know there's a few times during like some of the half marathons, because like I said, if I signed up for it, I'm going to race it. So even though it's a distance that I run quite often, racing's different than just going out there for a nice, long, slow jog. So whenever I would get done, I remember one in particular my wife was at and got past the line. I stumbled through the mix of them handing you a banana and beer, because that's what happens at these things, even though you don't really want either of them. At least I don't. And you get to kind of out of the mix of people, and my wife was right there. And she's like, "What do you want?" And I was just like, "Tree." She's, "What?" I was like, "Tree." And I just collapsed, and she went and put me into the tree. And then a couple minutes goes by and I got up and I was like, okay, let's, where do you want to go eat? What do you want to go do? And we went and did other things that day, and then got home. And the next day I woke up, and that's when everything had settled in. Your lactic acid has settled in, you're sore, and just mentally, when all that's there, you're just like, screw it. I'm not doing anything today.
I love the, I don't know how to describe it. Like the dim-wittedness of endurance racers who are just going to throw their body at this thing, whether it's smart or not, they're just going to do it. And I love that mentality. It's just so much like, let's just go wreck our bodies real quick just so we can see if we
Well, and I'll one up you on that, because like I have that. I mean, you have that obviously too, and everything as well. But to one up it, I'm complaining about that next day, but I love that next day. Yeah. Like knowing that I just pushed my body to that limit, and it feels this way and it's sore and everything, but I just think like there's just not a high percentage of people that do what I just did.
That's how I feel whenever I do something like that. And I just love that.
And my wife, she laughed at me one time because we were at a track meet and they were doing the 4x4. I told her, I said, there's no greater feeling than the last 100 yards of a 4x4 because it's just, you're giving your body, like, it's every last ounce that you have left. And your chest starts to numb, your arms start to go numb, your shoulder, I mean, everything. I was like, it's the best feeling in the world. She's like, you're crazy. Because it sounds like you're dying or you're getting ready to die. And I was like, maybe, but it's a great feeling. I love it. Yeah. It's like one of the greatest feelings.
I think for a good chunk of my early life, okay, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I used to be afraid of competing physically. And I don't know what it is. I think it was maybe because I was thrown into football when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and I just was not good at football. I was not good at it. I was good at art. I was pretty good at painting a picture, drawing a picture, etc. But physical competition, I was never that good at. So I never really wanted to compete, kind of on that question, John, of if I'm competing or not. But in my 30s, I find myself like, oh, I am competitive now physically on the bike. So I'm going to compete. And I think there was a part of me that was a little like kind of ashamed to compete physically. And again, maybe it's me coming from the art world of things for most of my life up until I was 21 or something. Like, I just thought, it's brawn versus brawn. Like, that's lame,
Yeah, that's not something we do.
Yeah, it's not something we do. We're intellectual competitors.
Yes.
Yeah. But now in my 30s, I'm like, you know what? There is something vital and wonderful and fun about physical competition that I was missing most of my life. And it's just like that you get that taste of blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
You're like, oh, I'm second. I was second for a while. They're like, oh, I got to do this again, And so now I'm like kind of unashamed to like, I want to compete. It's just fun, So,
yeah.
And I'm not that good yet, but hopefully next year.
But that's what's really cool about endurance sports. And I'm talking to like junior high and high school kids and stuff right now too, that haven't really found that home yet in the mainstream sports, if you will.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, I'm not coordinated enough for basketball, I'm not big enough for football, or coordinated enough for soccer or volleyball, whatever it is, there's always this home there for endurance sports, whether it's swimming, running, biking, anything along those lines, because it just gives an opportunity for everybody to compete. So if you decide, I don't really have a sport, I wish I was more active, I wish I wanted to do a sport, and you're in middle school or high school, try track, try cross country, try the swim team. Somewhere in there, you're going to find your home. Track, you have multiple events. You have your jumping, you have sprinting, distance, throwing, multiple events that you can find something in there. With cross country, it's all they're asking you to do is go run. Yeah. And the cool thing with running or jumping on a bike is it can easily be taught. With football, I feel like, or like basketball, I feel like you do have to have some sort of, you could be trained and you could get better and things like that, but there's just sometimes that you have it and you don't, kind of thing. But with running, you could start out running slower than you walk. But if you keep at it just stay consistent with it, you're going to improve and get better. And then you can continue to compete. The other thing on the side of running and swimming and biking is when you graduate high school, your percentage of going and being a college athlete for football, basketball, and all those other mainstream sports drops pretty quickly. It's very hard to go from high school to college and play those sports. And then when you're done with college, football, you don't really have much. You could join a men's flag football league. Basketball, again, it's men's league at the YMCA. as far as competition goes. But running, swimming, and biking, you could compete until you're 80, 90, 100 years old.
Yeah.
If you want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's something that you could do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of football players and basketball professionals end up kind of switching over. Not a lot, but a few are starting to switch over and transition into running because they had that adrenaline hit every time they walked onto the football field. And the moment their sport's over, they don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Until they walk onto the start line of a marathon or the starting line of a half or Ironman.
Yeah, they find another avenue for
it.
Achieving that same feeling. Yeah.
So that's why, like, I try to encourage kids so much. Do the other sports and try the other sports. Do all the sports, but don't discount cross country, track, swimming, because that is something that you can do for the rest of your life. It's going to help keep you healthy. You're going to be able to compete within that, and you're going to be able to find a community and a family within it as well that you might not be able to find in football or one of those other sports. So that's why I love endurance sports so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Coming from a background of, I didn't do cross country or basketball or football beyond 7th grade in, junior high or high school, because I wasn't part of an official sport in high school. But one of the things I missed that I'm just now kind of getting into as I'm getting older is like, there's another level of mental engagement that you get whenever you're competing in endurance sports. And like for me, it's not just pedal, push as hard as you can, run as fast as you can. Like, you can't just do that. You have to start thinking about your strategy. And that's like this whole new mental thing that I'm now encountering, that maybe you got that, Colin, growing up whenever you were doing cross country or something like that. I didn't get that. But as I'm now getting older and I'm trying to compete, I'm like, oh, here's a whole new facet of the sport I didn't realize existed. And that's like, how am I going to approach this massive hill here? But I have to approach it smart. And I can't just hit it with all I've got. I've got to think about what's after the hill. And then I've got to think about, how I'm going to approach the last 20 miles or something like that. But like, I now have to like have this smart mental approach to the competition that I'm kind of discovering now, that is very fun for me, that I personally think.
Yeah. And that translates into life. So as parents, if you have a kid that just hasn't really gotten involved in anything, see if they want to go for an endurance sport, because if they have that through middle school and high school, through this time of their life where they're really like changing and developing and turning into kind of getting ready for that adult world, having those moments where they have to make those decisions and really problem solve as your body's depleted, everything, it helps with, as they get older and they get into just the struggles of life and the ups and downs of life, it helps them kind of take that moment of, okay, this is just another hill. So how do I need to approach it? How do I need to go about it? That's what a lot of sports and youth sports does. But I just think even more so in endurance sports, because your brain's already tired. It's already depleted. Your body's depleted, but you still have to overcome.
Yeah.
And so in life, if you're overly stressed and all that stuff, you can still push through and overcome.
Yeah. There was my first 12-hour race last year. I really discovered a lot about my head space. I've done 2 marathons now. I've done several half marathons. And then I even did a half Ironman, which was before my race last year, was the longest thing I did. And in none of those did I have to like look at myself, like look at my personality, look at how I react to things. I guess I wasn't forced to do that. I mean, there was probably times when I had to, but like for the first time I did a race that was over 12 hours, I felt like I had to take a third person view of myself and how my brain is reacting to the pain. And I learned that like even at 12 hours, like I'm exhausted, I'm tired. The most important thing is to just be like, to have a positive mentality. And that applies to like, you know, half marathon, full marathon, yada, yada, yada. But when it came to the 12-hour race, I'm like, you have to have a positive mentality. If you have a positive mentality, then it's going to go, or not a positive mentality, it's going to go terrible. So finishing the race with a smile on your face. Oh, that's a phrase right there. I didn't even mean to. Yeah. But seriously, finishing a race with a smile on your face like that smile will carry you all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the lesson I try to teach my kids from any of this stuff. Cause sometimes like when I am in a season where I'm training for something, or I'm, you know, spending a lot more time, working out or running or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes my kids are like, what? Why do you, and it's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. If you hate it, why are you doing it?
Yeah. What was happening? And, I'm like, well, in life, even if you hit times where things are difficult, or whether or not you're facing it yourself, like running a race or something like that, or you get a batch of circumstances handed to you that are not so great,
like cancer.
Like cancer, but like being able to finish strong, like if you have a chunk of a run where you're not doing that great and you can get to that last stretch and you can end it with a smile on your face, like, and you can go and you can say, despite everything, I'm here at the end and I finished it. And I'm, looking at this as much from a positive perspective, as much from a learning perspective and a growth kind of mindset as you can. Then to me, that's why maybe someday that'll change. I don't really think as much competitively with other people, but that's what it does for me internally. I'm just like, then that's kind of the beauty of it, is you can still be competing with other people and still be kind of having that internal, monologue with, you know, with yourself going, oh, like I need to make sure my mindset is right. I need to make sure my outlook is good. Even if I had a bad couple of miles, I can still end this thing strong. Even like you said, you were second for up until the end, but you still like were way further ahead than you were the year before. You know what I mean? Like there were still positive things happening and good things happening. And, I think that's, to me, is like the beauty of this type of stuff, is that there's a lot more internally happening than when you're kind of in a team sport thing, where you're, operating kind of like game rules or whatever. It's a little bit different. Your strategies more outside of you. I think everything that we're talking about is like our strategy and our mindset is within us. And I think it shows you more about who we are as people.
Quantitative difference that it will give you if you are in a good mental state in a race. Like you could quantify that number. I guarantee you could.
Well, and I'm sure it's the same for your cancer research. Like when you have patients that have a good outlook and they're going through their treatment from a position of positivity and hope, and those things impact a person's the outcome of a person's diagnosis and treatment as well. It's pretty wild to just see what the brain and body can do whenever it's in the right circumstances versus letting yourself kind of be pulled down, so to speak. Definitely not to end this on a heavy note, but like, I guess I'm speaking about the positivity. There's just like a better chance of survival, a better chance of recovery, faster recovery, things like that, just from putting yourself in a position to heal in a more holistic kind of like good, positive way.
And I'll kind of wrap that up a little bit too with, we're talking about competing in the race. We're talking about finishing the race, but something that I've always held on to as through cross country and track, and then as an endurance runner, as an adult, is every time the gun goes off or the whistle or whatever it is, the blowhorn, whatever, every time they go off and I start the race, just starting the race, I've done something that not very many people do.
Yeah.
I know we look at these runs and you see thousands of people, but in the grand scheme of things, there's not a lot of people that are out there doing that. So just the thought of, typically I finish a race because I'm competitive and I mean, I'll kill myself to finish the race. I'll do whatever I need to do. But for some, it's just starting the race that can still have the biggest impact. So if you have the mentality to sign up for it, to pay the money to run or to bike or whatever it is, you show up and you start that race, you have done something that not very many people do already. So then to compete in the race and then to finish the race, like you're just stacking that, because there's people that go out and they'll start a race, so they'll DNF. It happens. So things happen. It's happened to me before. Got out there, I busted my foot all up and had blood all through my shoe and couldn't finish the race. Okay, it happens.
Why not?
Yeah. But he ran back with a broken leg.
What's your excuse?
Yeah, I'm just a vagina, I guess. I don't know. But the truth is, like, at the end of the day, the fact that you just started is an accomplishment.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you're just adding accomplishments from there. And that I love it so much.
Yeah.
Same thing with, I know we've talked about cancer because, of everything.
Go get your labs, sign up. That's an accomplishment in its own.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's took the words right out of my mouth. Go get your labs. Like, you started that process. If you are diagnosed with cancer, stepping in through the door for your first chemo treatment, getting through your first chemo treatment, that's a step, like accomplishment. It's the same thing in life and in running. That's why I love these sports so much. They could teach you so much. It's not just putting one foot in front of the other. It's not just pedaling a piece of machinery down the road or paddling your arms like crazy through water. You're going to get so much from these things, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then physically.
Yeah.
From it all. All it takes is you starting first.
Yeah. Very good.
Can I add one more thing? And you guys can cut it
please.
out if you want to at the end.
Go ahead.
I'm at this point in my endurance career where, so next year I want to sign up for the Iditarod 350. It's 350 miles on a bike. It's 4 days of biking. It's nuts. It's super cold. But I'm kind of at this point in my endurance career where I have a lot of peers that are signing up for it. My friend Mike Braniff, Aaron Monroney, she did it last year. Mike did it this year. And the question a lot of us have these days is, what's the point? Like, this is all so freaking hard. You put your body through so much pain. Like, no one's even watching this race for let's be real.
No, it's 4 days. How do we watch that?
Yeah, well, you can. There's a dot tracker you can follow, but you have to find it online. But like, this is not like broadcasted on ESPN by any means. This is just like,
there's not a lot of accolades like from the general public.
And if there was, no one would know. No one would care, because there are accolades out there. But the question that I'm at in my endurance career is like, what's the point? Why are you doing it? And I have a lot of friends that are just asking the same question to themselves. They're like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point? And I think the point is, like, at least for me, is it just feels like it's adventure. It's adventure. It's competition. It's all the stuff you kind of, I mean, Colin and John, please chime in. Like, if you know the point of these races, let me know. But for me, it's so adventurous. There's so much. I'd rather be doing that than be working. I'd rather be competing with my peers than cleaning the house. It's I don't know. You get that taste of blood. And it's just so fun. But
yeah, I think that is what it is. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to challenge yourself. It's an adventure to see how. I think that's why people keep going. Once you get it seems like every time you accomplish a race, your mindset immediately shifts to what's the next thing I can do.
For about 10 minutes, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? And then after 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, when can I do this again?
What's the next thing? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it does come down to just
that's where the insanity kicks in, but it's okay.
but it's fun to, when you get into routinely challenging yourself and routinely doing things that most people don't do. It's like it just puts you in another place. And I think you also have the residual, the kind of like trickle effect. Like it affects everything in your life, the way you make decisions, the way you work, the way you parent, the way you know, your faith is affected, you know, being in nature and reconnecting with your body. It's a mind, body, soul kind of holistic thing. I think it's even, you know, it puts you in a truer place of living, I think.
Is that a question that either of you have had to ask yourselves that? You know, like what is the...
I mean, I've done the least of this stuff, but I mean, even with the half, I was in that mindset of like, I wasn't, after you kind of go like, man, what is the point, I guess?
SpongeBob reruns.
Yeah, I could be doing anything else, you know, but I think that way sometimes, but mostly it's very brief. It's like maybe in like reflective moments where we're talking about this kind of stuff, I'm like, yeah, it is kind of wild. Like, why would I put myself through that difficulty for, you know, I don't know, like, why would you do that? But then it's a very short-lived thing for me. I just go into, I want to do it again. I want to try it again, see what's up.
I've never really been at that moment yet where I've asked myself that, because for me, it's just, I just freaking love it. I mean, I just absolutely love it. But I've had other people ask me before, and I have kind of the long answer for it and get into, you know, the science behind it. A lot of stuff that we've talked about, what it does to the body and the mind and all that stuff. But one of the kind of quick responses I give them is more on the spiritual side of it. And I've just told people, I'm like, look, if you feel like you're far away from God, or you're trying to get closer to God or find God, go run a marathon. You'll find them somewhere between mile 16 and 20.
I'm thinking of a specific run that I went on where I felt definitely like that.
Yeah. And it does. It just, it focuses my mind, my body, and just my spirit. And that it just helps me kind of, like you were saying, connect better. And so for me, it's just another home. Like I love my family and my wife and things like that. And that's home. But then this is just kind of like another part of my life that I just hold extremely like dear because of the experiences and the moments that I've had. So I can't fathom in my brain to ever stop. Maybe someday I'll have to switch over to a bike, or switch over to swimming or kayaking or something. But I always want to be pushing my body to some type of limit.
Yeah. The upsides like way outweigh the downsides.
Yeah.
I don't know why I prefer the bike over running, but for some reason I do.
The less trauma to the body.
There's also a whole nother like gearhead aspect to it.
I just have chicken legs. So I got to retrain my body for the bike. My body has been developed for running.
Yeah.
To get on a bike where I have to pedal a bike, I got to like recalibrate my leg muscles.
You're going to be one of those that you don't get on the bike until you have to get on the bike.
Yeah. I don't know if I bet I would enjoy cycling. I've just never done it. I've never really.
I mean, I jump on a bike for, like cross training and things like that.
I mean, I'll do a stationary bike or something, but
I can't. No, I can't do that. But
oh dear Lord,
I can't run inside either.
I don't care what the weather is. 140-mile bike ride on a stationary bike last year for my training.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I can't even run on a treadmill like that. I don't care what the weather's like outside. If I have a run scheduled that day, I'm going to do it outside.
It helped. Yeah. It helped me. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's times where I'm injured or something where I got to jump on a bike and go out and I enjoy swimming and things like that. But I don't know. I just love running and I'm still able to do it. So until I'm not, I'm going to keep doing that. And then I'll switch over to something else.
Yeah.
But, Vince, the race he just got done with, he said that they run either the day before or after, like they run the course, or 2 days before or whatever it is, or the week before.
For the White Mountains, there was no course the week before the race. It's like an hour north of Fairbanks. And generally, I think it's they will clean the course, but this year was really, really difficult. So they had, I think for about 30 to 40 miles. There was actually no course until the Sunday before the race. And then some random snow machiners went out and snow machined the whole course for us just to have it cleared out. But it was brutal. Yeah. It was a brutal race.
But did you have, like, there was runners that did the course before you, or was it just for bikes?
No.
I thought you had mentioned that.
Bike and run. But I think there was just a handful of runners that did this year, and we all started at the same time.
Yeah. So maybe I'll have to join you one day for the running.
You should. Yeah. The bike's the best way to do it. If you really want to make it hard on yourself, then run the course. But yeah, there was a runner this year, and this is the last thing I'll say. There was a runner this year that got to the start of the course. And again, this is 100 miles in the middle of nowhere, Alaska. So who wants to run 100 miles in the middle of nowhere, Alaska?
Sounds fantastic.
There are lots of people that do it. So this runner got to the start of the race, and we all were getting ready to go. And he goes, "Oh, I forgot something back home." So he drove an hour back home. They let him do it. He drove an hour back home and then an hour back to the start of the race, and started 2 hours after everybody else on foot, and then completed the run after starting 2 hours late. Not that it would have mattered. He's running. He's not going to get first place, but but the grit that showed was amazing. You know, the absolute grit.
Did he beat anybody on a bike?
I don't know. I haven't checked. It's very possible.
That'd be wild.
I'm just curious.
2 hours. Yeah. That'd be pretty wild.
I mean,
you're talking 100 miles. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Anything can happen. Yeah. It's possible he won. I mean, honestly, if he was going 6 miles an hour, he could have overtaken a bike, because some of us weren't going that fast. But.
Wow. Well, Vince, thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun catching up with you. I hope that we remain in contact from now on. Maybe we'll join him on his camping trip.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
And if you'll allow me to.
Or ride 100 miles in Alaska with you one day.
Yeah, or ride 100 miles in Alaska with you one day.
You can ski it too. You can ski it or bike it. So, but yeah, thank you guys for having me.
I would rather run. I don't trust myself on skis. So. But Vince, it was really good having you on, man. I appreciate you for being vulnerable with us and talking about life a little bit. And I've just really enjoyed our friendship, and I hope we can continue to stay in contact, and tell your family we said hi, and appreciate you, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me, and tell everybody that I said hi. I'm sure they don't remember me from the YMCA, but if they do, then by all means.
They do. I told Mara that you were coming on, and she was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
She was excited to be there.
It's good to see you both.
That we were getting to talk.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Yep.
I've been good to catch up after all these years and to see that things are going well. And I didn't know really anything about your life before this, as far as like where things, how things have went since high school and stuff. And I'm just really happy for you. It's awesome being a dad. So I'm glad you get to be a part of that in your world, and get to be raising your daughter and living your life up there and being a part of all these great things. And I'm very, I'm very glad that, recovery, remission, whatever category you're in, with cancer, I'm glad that is hopefully a thing of, in your past, and that, things have gone well for you. Yep. So that's a very, very good thing.
Yep. So. At this point, no longer a patient, just a healthy human being expecting a long life. So
we'll stay that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you being on again, and, we'll continue to chat with you. I'm looking forward to hearing about your next race.
Cool.
Oh, you can also drop your YouTube channel, because Vince does his own YouTube things as well, as far as going into the race and stuff, and kind of talks about some of that. So make sure you send me your YouTube channel and everything. I'll make sure to link that, and you can do that as well.
It's basically just a channel on I try to document the races. A lot of these races have not been documented in depth, so that's my goal. And then there's so much adventuring to be had in Alaska, so it's kind of an adventure channel if I can do it. So
it was really cool. I watched one of his last races, like through the whole thing. I just got fascinated, and hearing him like break it down is awesome. But just the views,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It was incredible.
Thanks.
So
yeah,
I appreciate definitely that. Something that I want people to know about. Yeah, so
appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Vince.